Why chasing happiness will never make you happy. Have you ever noticed that the harder you chase happiness, the more it seems to slip through your fingers? You set goals, achieve them, and yet that deep, lasting happiness you expected never fully arrives. Why is that? If you've ever felt like happiness is just around the corner, but somehow always out of reach, this message is for you. Stay with me until the end, because today we're going to unravel the truth about happiness and how you can finally stop chasing and start living. The illusion of pursuing happiness. We're conditioned to believe that happiness is a destination. Society tells us, work hard, achieve success, and then you'll be happy. But this mindset creates a cycle of postponement, an endless treadmill of "I'll be happy when." But what happens when you finally get that promotion, buy that dream car, or find the perfect partner? The happiness is fleeting. It fades quickly, and soon you're chasing something else. Then you wonder, why do I still feel unfulfilled? Alan Watts famously compared this pursuit to trying to clutch water in your hands. Hold it too tightly, and it slips away. Happiness is not a thing to be chased, it's a way of being. The happiness paradox: the more you chase, the more it evades. Happiness isn't something you attain, it's something you realize. The paradox is that the more you seek it as an external goal, the more elusive it becomes. Why? Because happiness thrives in presence, not in pursuit. Alan Watts once said, "You can't catch hold of it, you can't make it a goal." If you work hard to become happy, you will remain unhappy because you are striving for something that is already here. Think about it. If happiness were simply about reaching a goal, wouldn't everyone who has achieved success be permanently content? Why, then, do some of the world's wealthiest and most accomplished individuals still battle with dissatisfaction, anxiety, and depression? The problem lies in how we define happiness. When we treat it as a future event, something we will experience once conditions are perfect, we overlook the simple truth that happiness exists only in the present moment. Consider this. How many times have you thought, once I get that dream job, I'll be happy? And then, after landing the job, you immediately shift to thinking, now I need a raise, then I'll be happy. It's a cycle with no endpoint. Watts describes this as the perpetual reaching out for the future. He explains, we are living in a state of constant expectation, always preparing for something that never comes. But what if the very act of chasing happiness was the thing keeping it just out of reach? If happiness is always something to be reached in the future, how can we ever experience it now? What if everything you thought you needed to be happy was an illusion? Is it possible that you are already enough, exactly as you are, in this moment? Action item: stop saying, "I'll be happy when." Instead, start saying, "I choose to be happy now." Practice daily gratitude. Every morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for right now. Pause for a moment and observe your surroundings. Notice the richness of life happening now, instead of waiting for a better tomorrow. When we let go of the chase and instead allow happiness to emerge naturally, we start seeing joy in the smallest moments: the warmth of the sun, a conversation with a loved one, the sound of laughter. As Watts wisely put it, the meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet, everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. What if happiness is not a destination, but the road itself? What if you are already walking on it right now? The trap of external validation. We often tie happiness to external factors: money, status, relationships. But studies show that external achievements only account for about 10% of our long-term happiness. The rest? It's all about mindset and daily habits. Alan Watts once said, "No valid plans for the future can be made by those who have no capacity for living now." When we constantly look outside of ourselves for happiness, through social approval, wealth, or material possessions, we give away control over our own joy. How often do you check your phone for likes and comments? How often do you measure your worth based on what others think of you? This endless cycle of seeking validation from others keeps you trapped in an illusion, one where your happiness is always in someone else's hands. Think about it. If your happiness depends on how many people approve of you, then who is really in charge of your emotions? Are you living for yourself or for the expectations of others? Watts urges us to stop this relentless quest for external approval and instead embrace our authentic selves. He said, "Waking up to who you are requires letting go of who you imagine yourself to be. The truth is, you are already enough, regardless of external recognition. Are you living your life for yourself or for the expectations of others?" How much of your happiness is dictated by the validation of others? What would happen if you stopped seeking approval and simply embraced who you truly are? Action item. Shift your mindset from "I need this to be happy" to "I already have everything I need." Do a social media detox. Spend 24 hours without scrolling and notice how your sense of self-worth shifts. Practice self-affirmations. Every morning, look in the mirror and affirm, "I am enough, just as I am." Journal about one moment where you sought external validation. How did it make you feel? How could you have found happiness from within instead? Happiness isn't in the hands of others, it's within you. The more we release the need for validation, the freer we become. Watts reminds us you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. Let go of the need to impress and instead focus on simply being. The power of presence. Happiness is here, not in the future. Most people live in the future, waiting for happiness to arrive someday. But life only ever happens in the now. The past is a memory, the future is a dream. Happiness is found in embracing the present moment fully. Alan Watts emphasized this idea in his teachings. The future is a concept, it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There never will be because time is always now. How often do we postpone our happiness for an imaginary future that never truly arrives? We tell ourselves that we will be happy once we secure the right job, find the right partner, or achieve a certain financial status. But by the time we reach these milestones, our minds have already shifted to the next target. Consider this. If you could live fully in the present moment, free from the burdens of past regrets and future anxieties, would you not experience true happiness? The irony is that happiness is not hidden in the next big achievement. It is embedded in the ordinary, everyday moments that we often overlook. Watts compares life to music, explaining that we thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage which had a serious purpose at the end. But we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or dance while the music was being played. Happiness is not something you acquire. It is something you experience in the now. The moment you stop striving and start being, you begin to truly live. How often do you find yourself living for the future instead of enjoying the present? If you let go of the need for certainty about the future, how much freer would you feel? What small joys exist in your life right now that you've been too distracted to appreciate? Action items. Mindfulness exercise. Take 5 minutes each day to simply breathe and be aware of your surroundings. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds in the environment, and the feeling of the present moment. No rush hour. Dedicate 1 hour a day where you slow down intentionally, whether eating, walking, or working, fully absorbing each moment. Observation practice. When engaging in daily tasks, pay full attention. Feel the warmth of water while washing dishes, listen intently during conversations, and notice the details in your environment. Alan Watts reminds us muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. When we stop resisting and surrender to the present, clarity and happiness naturally emerge. What if the happiness you've been searching for has been here all along? What if the secret to fulfillment is not in chasing, but in allowing? The joy of contribution over consumption. Society often conditions us to believe that the more we accumulate, the happier we will be. We are bombarded with messages telling us that success is measured by what we own: the newest car, the latest phone, the biggest house. But what if true fulfillment doesn't come from what we get, but from what we give? Alan Watts once said, "The meaning of life is just to be alive." It is so plain and so obvious and so simple, and yet everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. What if happiness isn't about how much you can take, but about how much you can contribute? Studies have shown that acts of kindness, generosity, and service to others create a deep sense of fulfillment that material possessions simply cannot provide. Think about a time when you felt genuinely happy. Was it because you bought something new? Or was it because you did something meaningful, helped a friend in need, made someone smile, or contributed to a cause bigger than yourself? Watts reminds us, when you realize that what you do to others, you do to yourself, the entire game changes. Giving isn't just an act of kindness, it's an act of self-enlightenment. When you help others, you are, in essence, helping yourself. The illusion of material wealth. The endless pursuit of material wealth often leads to dissatisfaction. We acquire something, feel happy momentarily, and then begin looking for the next thing to satisfy us. This cycle of consumption never ends because external possessions can never fill an internal void. Watts explains, if happiness always depends on something expected in the future, we are chasing a will-o'-the-wisp that always retreats into the distance. So, what if, instead of accumulating more, we started giving more? What if we shifted from how can I get more to how can I contribute more? What was the last thing you did for someone else without expecting anything in return? How would your life change if you focused on contribution instead of consumption? If material wealth was taken away, what aspects of your life would still bring you joy? Action items. Practice generosity. Find one small way to contribute today, whether it's donating to a cause, helping a friend, or giving your time to someone who needs support. Shift your perspective. The next time you feel the impulse to buy something new, ask yourself, do I truly need this, or am I seeking temporary happiness? Create impact. Find a cause or community you believe in, and dedicate time to making a difference. Volunteer, mentor, or simply be there for someone who needs you. Alan Watts encourages us to live life as if it were a dance rather than a means to an end. This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it is play. Contribution transforms our lives from a transactional existence into something fluid, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. What if the greatest joy in life is not found in what you get, but in what you give? What if by helping others, you are actually helping yourself? The impermanence of happiness, embracing life's ups and downs. We often believe that happiness is a permanent state, that once we achieve it, we should be able to hold on to it forever. But life doesn't work that way. Like the waves of the ocean, happiness ebbs and flows, and trying to cling to it is like trying to grasp water with your hands. Alan Watts spoke extensively about the impermanence of all things, including happiness. He said, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Life is in a constant state of motion, and resisting its natural fluctuations only leads to suffering. The secret to peace isn't in trying to make happiness permanent, but in accepting that it comes and goes. Watts often compared life to music. We thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage which had a serious purpose at the end, but we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or dance while the music was being played. The lesson? Stop grasping at happiness as if it were a destination, and instead learn to appreciate the entire spectrum of experiences. Embracing the highs and lows. If you reflect on your own life, you'll see that some of your greatest growth moments have come not from your happiest times, but from your struggles. The difficult moments, the heartbreaks, the failures, the disappointments, are what shape you, teach you resilience, and deepen your appreciation for joy when it does come. Ask yourself, how would you even recognize happiness if you had never felt sadness? How would you appreciate success if you had never experienced failure? The contrast between our highs and lows is what gives life its richness and meaning. Alan Watts encouraged us to stop resisting the ebb and flow of life and instead surrender to it. He said, to resist change, to try to cling to life, is like holding your breath. If you persist, you kill yourself. What if happiness was never meant to be a constant state, but a fleeting moment to be appreciated when it arrives? How much of your suffering comes from resisting the natural changes of life? What would happen if you fully accepted both joy and sorrow as essential parts of your journey? Action items. Practice letting go. The next time you feel unhappy, instead of fighting it, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, this too shall pass. Reflect on growth through pain. Write down one difficult experience from your past and the lesson it taught you. How did it shape you into who you are today? Learn to flow. Spend a few minutes in meditation each day, focusing on your breath. Observe how it naturally rises and falls, just like the emotions of life. Ultimately, happiness is not about maintaining a constant state of euphoria. It is about learning to dance through all of life's emotions, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. As Watts beautifully put it, no valid plans for the future can be made by those who have no capacity for living now. What if the secret to happiness isn't in securing it forever, but in embracing its impermanence? What if the real joy is in learning to welcome both the sunshine and the storm? Your challenge today? Choose one action item from today's message and commit to it. Whether it's practicing gratitude, being present, or helping someone else, take one small step toward real happiness. And if you want to continue this journey of self-discovery and personal growth, check out our other videos for more insights that will help you live a truly fulfilling life. The search for happiness ends when you realize you don't need to chase it at all. It's already here within you.